What's going on, Jeromes? We're back. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day out there to those who celebrate. Daily Jerome's live stream, 11 a.m.-ish Central Time, Monday through Thursday, talking football, talking the draft, talking Vikings, talking life, all that stuff. Amazon's got a new CEO, but Andy Jassy's going to be perfectly fine. So, I mean, Bezos is... All right, so Bezos, great CEO, but was he really seen as a visionary like a Steve Jobs, like a Zuckerberg? I don't know. I think you have to give credit to Andy Jassy for cranking up Amazon Web Services, which is probably the most breakthrough part of Amazon's business. I mean, that cloud business going up against Google and Microsoft, and they dominated. But yeah, whatever. Anyways, so football. Swedini, Kirk to Niners for picks, first and a fourth, and or a second and a third. Watson to Vikes for those picks. Gonna need more than that to get Watson. No regular juice picks and Jimmy to the Patriots. All said and done. Yes, I'm in. Pulford Skull. Thoughts on bringing back Everson, rotational locker room guy. Kirk Cousins' ass. Thank you. Mac Alexander in on Mac. Odds of landing Patrick Peterson. If he actually hits free agency, 10%. Hunter Williams. Skull from Savage, Minnesota. Thanks for making this place Vikings country. Hey, thank you. Who is your favorite NFL announcer? I like Greg Gumbel, Kevin Burkhardt, and Mike Tirico. Well, Tirico's good. They haven't been utilizing Tirico since he is sort of the play-by-play guy in waiting for Al Michaels. I will always love Al Michaels. Let's see. Burkhardt is sort of whatever. Like Burkhardt is technically good, except doesn't really draw me in. Ian Eagle, CBS, phenomenal. Plus, I believe his son did the Nickelodeon version of the Bears and the Saints game. I thought it was really good too. He's like a voice doppelganger. He's like a mini Ian. Also, Kevin Harlan. I mean, come on. I fell in love with Kevin Harlan when he was the Timberwolves announcer. The big ticket, up high, down hard. And he's just really, really good. And I've advocated for a while. So Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner do the radio broadcast on Monday Night Football for Westwood One, I believe. And I think that they would be dynamite on Monday Night Football, the TV version. I think they should move in that direction. Abza Abdi. Bold prediction, there will be a four-way trade between the Vikings, Patriots, Niners, and Texans. God, that'd be sexy. So Vikings, I'm guessing, would get Deshaun. Niners would get Kirk. Patriots would get Jimmy G. And the Texans would get an assload of picks. I'm in. Bruce Robinson Jr. Should we consider bringing Josh Klein back knowing when he was here, he was one of our best offensive linemen? Yes. Yes, and the fact that the Vikings, they wanted him back, but at a lower rate, given a year away from the game, giving that body a full year to heal up, and hopefully he's past some of his concussion issues. Yes, absolutely. Viking Jerome. Question, who makes better cheeses, Minnesota or Wisconsin? I would assume Wisconsin, yeah, even though Minnesota is a big dairy state as well. I mean, Wisconsin is known as the dairy capital, and was it Ellsworth, Wisconsin? Is a cheese curd capital? Something like that. Minnesota grows better apples and soybeans and corn and everything else. Brett G, watch your daughter's mock this morning. Tell her don't quit her day job. Her day job is going to school and playing with Equestria girls. So, yeah. How would you compare Barmore to Kinlaw going to last year's draft? I think Kinlaw has a higher ceiling. I think Barmore has a higher ceiling. Sorry, screwed that up. I think even though Kinlaw was super hyped, I had a lot of questions about his game going in, and really did not pan out year one in San Francisco. But take that with a grain of salt. He was operating without Joey Bosa, and so a lot more attention was being able to be paid to him. But so Derek Brown was in a different universe than Kinlaw and Barmore, but. I mean, if Barmore would have come back for one more year at Alabama, I wouldn't have been shocked if he would have ended up being, the Derek Brown type player, a top 10 type pick. But I think Barmore, if they took Barmore at 14, I would understand it. I think it's a little bit too rich in terms of where he should be drafted in this class. But yeah, Barmore's, I would put Barmore above Kinlaw. Let's see, how would I do this? So I would put Derek Brown 1 in this class. If you combine the last two classes, I would put Barmore 2. I would even put Wuzuriki above Javon Kinlaw. I put Kinlaw 4, and then you get into the Marvin Wilsons, the Matabukes, the McNeils, etc. Astro Zio Sports, your thoughts? We trade Kirk to the 49ers and get 2 first-round picks and a third and Jimmy G. I do trade Jimmy G. Well, so you wouldn't get the sweetheart deal like the Lions got for Stafford, because remember, a big part of that was taking on Jared Goff's contract. And Jimmy G, they can just cut, so they don't have to warehouse his contract anywhere else. Yeah, I think, well, if there was a market for trading Jimmy G back to the Patriots, I think the Niners would just do it. But, I mean, just taking all of that out, I mean, the Vikings miss out on some of that arbitrage, but moving up to get Zach Wilson, blah, blah, blah. I would rather go with Deshaun, where it would be one thing if Deshaun was 30, but he's 25. So you have a decade of that sweet spot. He's already proven to be the type of quarterback that you want Wilson or Jones or Fields or Lance to be eventually. So yeah, I would just take Deshaun. King Jose, $5 in Super Chat. Andy, me and my dad enjoy watching you a ton. Hey, thank you. He was a former Viking. Do you remember Jim Gustafson? Yes. Hey, Jim, King Jose, you guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Next up, Griffin Creer. Congrats on 35,000 subs. Hey, thank you. Question, do you think Mike Hughes is a lost cause? Baby, I'm a lost cause. Gotta listen to some more Beck. No, I don't. Maybe as a cornerback, but I'm holding out hope as a return guy. And, the Vikings aren't going to cut him because the cap savings would be negligible since he is on his rookie deal. And he is relatively cheap, even though he was a late first-round pick. So I think that the Vikings, they're relatively set at cornerback. I would not give Hughes a starting spot. I would not even give him a cornerback 4 spot. He'll have to earn it. But him as a return specialist, we've talked about that. That's the best part of his game. Brett Vuvuzelis. And definitely don't pick up his 5th-year option. Brett Vuvuzelis. I think Minnesota should just wait until after the Super Bowl to hire an OC so we can hire Eric Bieniemy. I don't know if you would take a lateral move. The Chiefs would have to let him out of his contract to do that. But yeah, I think it's going to be Clint Kubiak no matter what. Goat Kogi. I'm all in on not trading Kirk. I don't see why we want all that cap room to build a line to block for Nate Stanley unless I feel it. Well, no. All right, so this is the misunderstanding that a lot of people have. Like, why are you getting rid of Kirk and then you're just going to have Nate Stanley? No, you're only getting rid of Kirk if you get the ammunition to move up for your quarterback of the future, one of the big 4, not the big 5, not Mac Jones, or getting Deshaun Watson. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's where the Vikings leverage is. They can walk away from the negotiating table because, like, all right, we're perfectly fine with Kirk, but no, it's no. Chris Danny Hansen. I think Dalvin Cook is the best all-around running back in the NFL between pass catching and running out of the backfield, where King Henry is the best strictly running back. Thoughts? Agree. But, man, McCaffrey didn't get hurt last year. I mean, that would be relatively close, but Dalvin is my guy. Mason Z. Did you see Stephen Weatherly has a hobby of glass blowing? Was watching season 2, episode 7 of Blown Away on Netflix, and it was like, dang, that's Stephen Weatherly. Stephen Weatherly is a really interesting dude. I mean, coming out of Vanderbilt, which is an academic school, not necessarily known for football all that much. Although Jay Cutler ran the option at Vanderbilt. I mean, was it Weatherly could play like a dozen instruments or something like that? I mean, dude, frankly, probably should have been a rocket scientist as opposed to an NFL player, but extremely interesting Renaissance man. I guess you could easily say that too. So super cool. T-Rag, is there not an option to sign a coordinator to a multi-year contract? Feels like a new OC every year is holding our offense hostage. Well, it's a way station. I mean, no one gets into coaching just to be a coordinator. Eventually, everyone wants to become a head coach. That's why there's so much turnover. Now, you can find a sweet spot, like say like Wade Phillips floating around as defensive coordinator, where you have an entrenched head coach, where he was DC for Gary Kubiak when they won a Super Bowl in Denver. He was DC for the Rams under Sean McVay when they made that Super Bowl run. He's looking to get back into the game again. I think that really is the only way that you keep a coordinator around long term, where they've already either failed they've discovered their their peer principle and their level of incompetence, and then just moved on to life. Frankie Watson Brown signed Sherman in free agency. He wouldn't necessarily mesh in what Zimmer does defensively. Sherman, mainly a cover 3 guy, mainly sticks on one side of the field, so no. Cut Rudolph, yes. Restructure Barr. Again, you only restructure guys that you see fulfilling the rest of the contract. Barr has 3 years left on his deal. No. Reef only has 1 year left on his deal, so he can't restructure, but pay cut, yes. Go after Thune in free agency, yes. Draft Rousseau, no. Grab a guard, yes. And a safety, Stearns possibly. I do like Caden Stearns. Skull, partly Skull. Pulford Skull. If you could bring back Yannick to actually line up opposite Hunter, would you? It would have to be dirt cheap. Like, it would have to be absolutely dirt cheap, but also gotten some vibe that, maybe Yannick, he understood that this was a mercenary deal and was just sort of freelancing on a losing team, getting that stats up. So, what's the deal? $5 in the super chat. I've been waiting a while to do this. I've been enjoying the content for some time. Also, if you were GM, who would you realistically want for QB on the Vikings? I would move heaven and earth for Deshaun, where you have an established NFL star, franchise-level quarterback, 25 years old. You could get a decade, 12 years out of him. Yeah, I would just go do that. And if the cost is 3 ones and some change, yeah, do it. Banyani Catalan, straight percentage chance that Cousins is their quarterback for at least one more season. I think it's probably like 87%. It is pretty high. But, 13% chance that he's not. Michael Merchant Robles. Wasn't Sam Howell projected to be a first rounder? What happened to him, or do you go back to school? Oh, he's back in school, but was he a sophomore? I don't even think that he was eligible because I think that he's a sophomore. I might be wrong. Yeah, he's a true sophomore, so yeah, he wasn't eligible. Next, Gavin O. I really like Bateman. I think it is a reach, but wouldn't be mad if we got him at 14. And that would be a bit of a reach, but certainly would be a candidate if the Vikings do trade down and are able to recoup some other draft value. Nick Kuzis. Who would you rather keep going forward, Hunter or JJ? Jefferson. Wow, it's crazy how quickly I answered that. But Hunter would fetch more in trade, even though he's older and even though he's coming off of an injury and even though he does need a contract to be freshened up. I think that given the depth of the wide receiver class this year, I think a wide receiver needy team would not give up as much for Jefferson as they would for Danielle Hunter. Brady Doran, possible 3-way trade that sends Kirk to the 49ers, Deshaun Watson to the Vikings, and Garoppolo and a bunch of picks to the Texans. Possible 3-way trade. Sure. Michael Merchant Robles. Thoughts on bringing back Aldrick Robinson or Jarius Wright for wide receiver 3? Robinson, yes. Frankly, I wanted Robinson back in 2019 before he went to Carolina. I wanted him back last year. Jarius Wright, man. Mason Z. Also, have you seen Wendy's T-Rex burger? Best $21 I've ever spent. I have not. Wendy's got a $21 burger. Woo, let's see here. Is it just everything? No, this is not a thing. Wow, it actually is a thing. Oh, you got the sandwich for $21.99, but you can get the combo for $3 more. That's a deal. That is a deal, man. Wow. It's like the what was the Arby's meat tornado? Or was it the Meat Mountain? Yeah, where it had everything. I actually got this once back in the day, where it has like all of the meats and it had like chicken tenders. Woo. Next up, DG. Which MMA fight or fights stick out to you as the shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't happen? Here's a few. Randy Couture versus Fedor, John Jones, Rumble Johnson, Anthony Silva, Frank Shamrock, Shogun, Rampage, Henderson, Vanderlei. Actually, a funny thing. So a guy that I was friends with in high school and played sports against from another school, he actually fought Rumble Johnson. It didn't end well for him, but it's funny. It's on Fight Pass. It's cool. But I don't know. Frank versus Ken Shamrock. That'd been sweet. But I think like GSP Khabib, which is still possible. I mean, I think if there was one fight that Khabib would come out of retirement for, I think it would be GSP. I don't think people really have an appetite for Conor Khabib 2, especially since Conor just lost to Poirier. Plus the way that Khabib ragdolled Conor, the first time around. GSP Anderson Silva always sticks out. Like two goats just passing in the night. It's a shame. Also, John Jones versus Brock Lesnar. I mean, that could still possibly happen. I mean, just waive everything. Just waive all the USADA crap so you can get Lesnar in. And John Jones, too. And then just go at it. Just go at it at heavyweight. God, that'd be so much fun. Right? Next up is Rico22. Opinion on Marquez Stevenson. I think he's really fast, a wide receiver, and reminds me of Mecole Hardman. I like him. Needs a little bit more consistency in the hands, as well as you do have some health concerns, but I mean, that speed is absolutely legit. Could he maybe overpriced in the third round? Maybe, but if he's there in the fourth, I have absolutely no problem with it. Hey, let's know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple shout outs. You guys are the best. All right, next up, Samson Romaine. Would you sign Danny Amendola to league minimum? No. Pulford Skull. OBJ, Hilton, AJ Green, Julio. Where are they all going in your opinion? And who is GB going to? I actually think that AJ Green ends up in Green Bay. I think TY ends up in Jacksonville for some reason. I don't know. OBJ, Cleveland's going to cut him. Or possibly, I don't think they'll get much in trade. Where's OBJ going to go? It would be probably something stupid. Like OBJ will go to the Jets. Just back in New York. OBJ will go to the Jets after they trade for Deshaun. And then Julio, I think, stays in Atlanta. I think he and Matt Ryan will run it back for 1 year at least with Arthur Smith. Gavino, would you give Wentz a fresh start in Minnesota? No. I mean, there's just so much inconsistency. And the guy gets in his own head. He kind of reminds me of Laquan Treadwell, where once things start going bad, I mean, personality-wise, there are certain people and athletes that just dig down deep and, they fight through the adversity and they come back from it. But with Wentz, I mean, he's a great front runner. Don't get me wrong. When things are going well, he plays well. Like in 2017, when, he started the season off, like he was playing at MVP level. But then he got hurt, and then Foles takes him to the Super Bowl. Ugh. And then I think that wore on him. Like I wouldn't be shocked if he still has the Super Bowl ring. Like I think that he thinks that it's tainted. So I mean, when things start to go bad, or when there's just a crack or a sliver of adversity, it snowballs, right? So Westworld. Why are the Rams comfortable with handing out large contracts that bite them later on? All right, so Jared Goff and the Todd Gurley deal and the Brandon Cooks deal, all 3 atrocious deals that they just wiped off their books. Well, they're able to trade all 3, so it didn't hurt them as bad as you would think. But yeah, it's rough. I don't even know how Les Snead still has a job, because he screwed up the windfall from the RG3 trade. You would think getting 3 1s and a 2, I believe it was, and the best players that you got out of that deal was Michael Brockers. That's messed up. Screwed up on Greg Robinson. Jared Goff messed up. They're going to have 7 years without a first-round pick. Gave Todd Gurley all the money. Traded for Brandon Cooks and then paid for him. Abza Abdi, outside of football, which Minnesota sports team do you know a lot about and could see yourself making a channel about? None. No. I like baseball, but I like baseball because it's a super casual sport, and I don't really care who wins. Except for the Twins. Except they never beat the Yankees, and they never win in the playoffs. If we did a channel, we could do like late 90s, early 2000s Timberwolves. I think that would be hilarious. Like the Kevin Garnett, Tom Gugliotta, Stephon Marbury, Anthony Peeler, Sprewell, Sam Cassell type era. That'd be about it. Although Anthony Edwards is pretty good, apparently. Nusrad G. I'm counting at least 10 options at quarterback if we trade Kirk for a nice haul, but miss on Deshaun. Go ask. That's a Matty Ice. If you miss out on Deshaun, just get Fitzpatrick and then trade up for your own guy. That's about it. All right, some shout-outs. Let's see here. Daniel Tuma, Skull from Maryland. Caio Baldrini, Rio de Janeiro. What's up? Jens Harald Claudius, Oslo, Norway. Richard Sobolik, Hustletown. What's going on? Pulford Skull, Hot Chicken, Nashville. Preacher Paul, Hallna for all of you. Leroy, Illinois. That rhymes. Purple Rain, Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Jacob Hia Megat, Oakdale in the house. Trevor Eliason, Northern Wisconsin. Wisco. Trubisky, Trempolo. What's up? Let's see here. David Randall Howell II, Esquire, Memphis. I like Memphis. Memphis is a great town. Lucas Stash, Skull from New Jersey. Bryce Ketterling, Missoula, Montana. That's right. Two Fallon, Brooklyn Park, Northern Burbs. You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Daily Jerome's live stream. Next up. Let's see here. Jacob McCullough, I'm starting to really like Trevon Moehrig. Yeah, but don't draft a safety in the first round because people will boo your mind. No, Trevon Moehrig is damn legit. And it may be a draft where they don't have a safety in the first round, but he would definitely be scooped up at the top of the second. Samson Romaine, would you do a draft profile for J.D. Spielen? I mean, sure, but then we'd have to do a draft profile on all 6th and 7th round picks. Yeah, I mean, Spielman's... I don't know where he's going to be drafted. He's a phenomenal return man. He had 3 straight years of 800 yards receiving at Nebraska, which I think is a school record. And, I mean, the transfer to TCU was just sort of weird. Yeah, and then this year he played in like 5 games. But, man, could Rick draft his kid? That'd be a power move. That'd be great. But, I mean, if he goes undrafted, which is a possibility... I mean, you would think that the Vikings would have the inside track for him being a UDFA. Or he'd be like, hey, screw you, Dad. You didn't draft me. Even though you ended up with 18 7th-round picks. What the hell? Chris Danny Hansen. My wife is about ready to pop with my 4th kid. I have any name ideas? Jerome. Boy or a girl. So it's kind of funny. So when we had our son, I was actually given the green light to name him Theodore because the wife liked the name Theo, but of course we know. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it. We used the family name instead, but yeah. See, can you sneak in Vikings reference? Like, I guess you could name your kid Adrian, but of course that has connotations. I know that a lot of people name their kids Harrison, but you know we couldn't do that because you know our last name ends in SON too. That'd be weird. Son. Percy. Could you use Percy as a boy or a girl? There's no girl's named Percy, right? I guess Justin freaking Jefferson. Sure. Nate Stanley Hansen. Nah, that won't work. Actually, Harrison Hansen. I think that could work. I think that would be legitimate. Or so I assume that Danny is your wife's name. So could you be like, girl, as an homage to you, I want to name our kid Danielle or Danielle if it's a girl. Boom. Nailed it. Miles. Who would you choose as your personal bodyguard from the Vikings other than Danielle? Well, there's 2 schools of thought. So just get a really big guy and then no one will mess with you. Or do you get a smaller guy, but one that has definitely been in the poop? You know, a Jason Bourne type. Let's see here. All right, so Danielle would have been the obvious choice, but that's fine. But are you going to take Pierce? Like, what if you get taken and he's got to try and run you down? That's probably not going to work out well. I think Dalvin would be pretty good. I feel like Barr would be pretty legit. No, Eric Wilson. Yeah, Eric Wilson if he still counts. Because dude is jacked. He's big enough that no one's going to mess with him. And also, if you did get into a foot race situation, like he is super speedy for a linebacker. So, yeah, I'll take Eric Wilson. Toxic Knicks. Which Vikings player will have a breakout 2021-2022 season? Irv Smith Jr., Nate Stanley? Nah. Ezra Cleveland at left tackle. James Lynch at 3 tack. Finally, I think Cameron Dantzler next year will be a top 10 cornerback in this league. And that's it. Mario Carmona. Who are the Raiders overdrafting this year? I could see them taking Barmore. Even if like Gregory Rousseau is on board, I could see them taking Barmore. That would fit into their motif. And overdrafting, I would understand if they took Basham, because where they draft 17. Yeah, Basham, even though that's probably on the high end of his draft range, I could easily see that. Or who they just take? Just a random cornerback. Really, really high. Actually, no, they have a lot of safety issues. Because Jonathan Abrams is whatever. Man, could they take Javon Holland at 17? That'd be pretty crazy. Or Caden Stearns at 17. Just out of here. Miles, do you think Zimmer will be fired this year? Yes. Thorvald Von Johnson. And I know what you're saying. Well, if he's going to be fired next year, why not? Why are you dragging your feet? Exactly, but that's ownership's decision. Thorvald Von Johnson. What are the chances that Deshaun Watson busts on a new team? Well, there's always a chance, but I mean, how many really good quarterbacks are perennially on bad teams, except for Matthew Stafford, apparently? What is best scheme fit for him? I think that he would sync up really well in a movement-based West Coast scheme. So here or San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, I think that would really fit nicely with him. Or in Green Bay with the 12-year-old boy. Oh, vomit. Mitchell Anderson, where are the odds Cousins gets traded? So we said it's 87% that he's here. So I guess 13% because 0% chance they're cutting him. Astro Zio Sports. If we can get Deshaun, here are all the benefits. Focus on Zimmer's defense. Diamond defense. 19-0. Vikings win the Super Bowl. 20-0. 17-game schedule. Astro Zio, your thoughts on Christian Barmore from Alabama? Roll Tide. I think that in 5 years, he could become one of the better 3-techs in the league. Where, the kid basically has 1 year of college experience combined between his last 2 years. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's young. He does need refinement, but the way that he can just physically manhandle dudes, the potential is certainly there. Frankie Watson Brown. First round, you have to stick and pick Wyatt Davis or Kwity Paye. I think given the composition of the mid-round interior offensive lineman, I would take Kwity Paye. Yeah. Chidozie Osuji. Well, because even though Wyatt Davis, in my book, is still the best interior offensive lineman, if you consider Slater a tackle, you can get a starting caliber guard in the mid-rounds. You can get will you get a starting caliber or at least a 30 to 40 snap a game edge rusher in the mid rounds? Less likely. Chidozie Osuji. Because are you going to take Kwity Paye in the first round and then say get Ben Cleveland in the third round, or David Moore, or Quinn Meinerz? Sure. Or you take a Wyatt Davis and getting Jordan Smith or Patrick Jones. I'll take the former. Chidozie Osuji. Do you think that Vikings can get Trey Lance because of the Stafford trade, and how do you think the Vikings could get him? I think it's possible they would have to leapfrog the Broncos at 9 unless Denver makes a move. I could easily see them taking Trey Lance if he's available, but could he get past the lines at 7? It's possible, even though I do not believe for a second that the Broncos are fully in on what's-his-face McGee. Also the Panthers at 8 potentially could be in on Trey Lance. Michael Merchant Robles. What happened to Josh Doxson? I don't know. He's just out of the league. Well, he was on the Jets, I believe. Joe Smith. What's the biggest need to address in the draft? If you had to pick one singularly, 3-tech. Yeah, so 3-tech, even though edge, offensive line, always a need. Actually, no, I'm going to say guard. Yeah, screw it, because, I mean, the options are Dakota Dozier, and you do have James Lynch on the roster. Westworld, who won the Khalil Mack trade? Well, so the Bears, they took Abram and I believe Josh Jacobs. So, yeah, the Bears won. Tony Levins, would you trade Daniil for Watson? Straight up, yes. Even though Daniil is the best edge rusher in the league, quarterback is just that much more important. Chris Danny Hansen, Marvel or DC? I guess DC, since for me it's like Batman, then sort of everything else. I never really got into the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. I do like the Guardians movies, but that's a small portion of it. But I never really got into the Avengers or whatever. Sam Thomas, your unbiased Viking fan opinion on why Justin Jefferson is Offensive Rookie of the Year. Justin Jefferson was voted second team All-Pro. He was voted to the Pro Bowl. Justin Herbert was not voted to either of those things. Jefferson had the best or the second best wide receiver rookie season in NFL history. Herbert had a nice year. Cool. Atso, Mike, and this channel is the best. Hey, thank you. You are the best. That's it. That is the Daily Jeromes live stream. You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Subscribe for Daily Vikings Takes, and we'll see you tomorrow. Skol, production value.